I'm 35 years old and in $169,292.74 of debt, and I still live at home with my parents. And you might as well bump that up to $266,722.97 in debt if you add in how much I will pay in interest. I started aggressively looking at my debt in January and truly didn't know the full financial picture until I got it all down on paper. That's include 2 private student loans, 10 federal student loans, 1 auto loan, 1 private loan, and 13 credit cards.
13 credit cards? And she has so many student loans? Oh my goodness. I hope she didn't max out all 13. Oh, mercy. That would be bad.
I've already taken some drastic measures to reduce spending and start side hustling. I started posting my debt payoff journey here on TikTok in hopes of growing and getting into the creator fund. I'm selling my debt tracking template. I'm door dashing, donating plasma, selling items around the house, and doing TikTok shop to try and make it. Made some really good progress so far thanks to an annual bonus I got from my 9-to-5 job, but I've got a long way to go. I've been able to negotiate most of my interest rates on my credit cards down with the help of a debt management plan, but the interest on my student loans is wild. My 2 private student loans have interest rates of 12.75% and 8.9%, while my federal loans range from 5.8 to 6.6%.
Yeah.
The private student loans are from my undergraduate degree, which I earned over 15 years ago. I would probably puke if I knew how much I had already paid.
Look, I want to know what she went to school for. I know a lot of y'all don't care to talk about that. Y'all are like, debt is debt. College is bad. It matters. We the people want to know, was the degree worth it? And by worth it, we mean able to actually help you pay back the student loan debt. We don't want you out here with the degree trying to pay off $200-something thousand worth of debt, and the income ain't enough to get it done. Now, granted, I even understand it taking a few years, it's taking a couple of years, or whatever the case may be, but I'm talking about them degrees where you only gonna end up getting $50,000, where you could have just went ahead and took a shift over at the Chick-fil-A and got paid 18 to 20 bucks. I hope not.
And to this day, I think about all the frivolous things I bought and did when I was in my teens and 20s with this money, and wow, if I would have known I would be paying for tank tops and fun nights out at bars 1,000 times over the next 15 years, I might have made some different choices.
She said tank tops. Were you spending on all the trends? And I know it was in the past and she's trying to do better now. I'm just trying to understand. I hope she was not trying to keep up with all the latest things going on at the time. And I know a lot of people do that. To all my young folks out there, it is not worth it. If you can't afford to do it, don't do it. I don't care who is around. I don't care what organization you in. They got this going on. They doing that. They going on the trip. They going out to eat. They buying clothes. They buying makeup. They doing Sephora hauls. I don't care who it is. Don't you do it. Y'all got older people on TikTok going viral telling y'all what's going to happen. This is your life in the future if you don't stop now. Some of y'all already think life is hard. Y'all already say life ain't fair. So what do you think it's going to feel like when you start trying to have children and you want to get a car and you want to get married and you want to do all those things and you're buried in debt? And as bad as it sucks that she's going through this, I respect her honesty. Yeah, she got herself into this mess. She admitted it and she is working to get herself out. But I really want the younger people to understand this too can be you. We was all 18 at one point. We was all 20 at one point. They're telling you so you don't do it. You think you got your credit card spending under control and some of y'all don't. You don't got the discipline to not make the worst decisions for yourself. And you're going to turn a blind eye and put your head in the sand and act like you don't know what's going on until it's time to run your credit or it's time to really have an honest conversation about why is your credit score so messed up, and you gotta reflect and be honest. We don't want this for anybody. What she's experiencing isn't fun, and people gotta understand this ain't a game. This is serious. When you dealing with penitentiary numbers for debt, do you know how hard it's gonna be to breathe at night, to go to sleep? Every day you wake up knowing that you never even seen this much money. You never even had this much money, and this is what you owe? Y'all really got to think about it.
Even though I've already paid off about $31,000 of debt so far this year, I'm still not looking at being debt-free until 2040. I honestly cannot imagine another 15 years of paying on this debt, especially with so many other life milestones I want to achieve, like buying a house and having kids.
That's what I was saying. She said 2040, y'all. That's 5 years from now. And I'm glad she has a plan, but my goodness, y'all, did y'all hear she said she got 5 more years over some stuff she did when she was how old? Y'all, please take heed. I'm tired of seeing y'all struggling out here. Don't do it to yourself.
Also just got engaged, and it truly makes me sick thinking about how I am bringing more than $150,000 of debt into our marriage starting out. Not a video to complain by any means, because these were my own choices and I'm working to pay back what I owe. But I hope sharing this can resonate with others.
Then she trying to get married. She want to enter a marriage. She want to do it the right way. She don't want to go in no marriage with debt, which I can totally understand. Like, who wants to marry somebody, especially if they got they stuff in order? Oh, if they're good with money and you coming in with debt, I understand why she wants to pay it. And that's a good sign. And I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear it. A lot of y'all don't want to try to understand. But the truth of the matter is, marriage is very much business also. It is not just about love. You just pick your business partner for the rest of your life, and you better hope that you pick the right one. You can marry somebody and they be horrible with money, and guess what's gonna happen? One of y'all was good with money, the boat was afloat, you was doing well, you was riding all the currents. As soon as you marry somebody that ain't good with money, the ship about to sink and they taking you with them. You is not getting off until death do you part. Until debt do you part, until divorce do you part, or whatever the case may be. You don't want to be with nobody that's about to wreck your ship. And you definitely don't want to be the one that's wrecking the ship either. So she doing the right thing. She's trying to get it right. She made some mistakes. She's trying to do better. But oh yes, big consideration for debt. Before you get married, y'all should have already talked about that. I'm not talking about her. I'm saying everybody. If you're marrying somebody and you don't know how much debt you're in, you ain't did enough. You ain't asked enough questions. You should be asking to see Credit Karma, Equifax, all of that. I want to see everything. I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with. How much student loan debt do you have? This is serious business, y'all. Because when you get married, I know a lot of y'all like to be like, oh, no, it's just about love. Do y'all know that there are some people who end up filing bankruptcy and it affects the spouse that's good with money? Y'all got to wake up to what really happens out here. It's scary. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody from marriage, because marriage is a beautiful thing. But you got to make sure everybody on the same page. But if the person you're with wants to keep burying themselves in debt, and ain't trying to make no sort of payments, and you're good with money, or you trying to be with somebody that's good with money because you don't want to learn how to be financially responsible and financially educated and bring them down, there's nothing wrong with not knowing and understanding how to be good with money and debt and all of that stuff, credit cards, but will you be pulling that person down too? Are you willing to change? That's the real question.
Good morning, everybody. I am the girl in $169,000 worth of debt who has really stirred up the comments on my last video. I picked this comment out to respond to just because I think that there are so many people out there who have debt. By the way, 77% of Americans have some form of debt.
Look, and it says here, the comment she's responding to says, it says, if people deal with different life circumstances, and very true.
So I applaud all the people in the comments who don't. But there are a lot of people who have lots of different life situations that put them in a lot of different places where they have accumulated debt and they have to find a way to work through it. There's a question that I made some not so smart decisions and got too many credit cards. At the end of the day, when you're taking responsibility for those things and trying to work and hustle and work really hard to try to pay those things off, I think that that's where the debt-free community that I've been a part of has been so supportive and offering really great advice and motivation to try to help you try to pay off as quick as possible.
Look, and I appreciate that, because not only is she taking responsibility, but she is inspiring other people to do the same, because you don't know how you're touching somebody. You don't know how you're helping them by even sharing your story. And it's the little things in the story that end up being relatable. See, a lot of y'all want to get on here and dress stuff up and make it pretty for everybody, but that's why the video did well. There is somebody young watching that's horrible with money that says, oh, whenever I go out, I just like to spend money and I can't help myself. That's the people watching her videos. That's the people trying to stop what they're doing. And it inspires them to stop for a few different reasons. They might be scared. They don't want it. They don't want this to happen. They don't want this for their future. The amount of people that come to me in my comments and say, hey, I watch your videos whenever I feel like I'm about to go out and splurge and go do something dumb and go spend recklessly. Like, hey, if watching somebody stops you from making bad decisions and is the reminder that you need to hold yourself accountable, I say that's a blessing, because some of y'all be out there ready to crash out. Y'all be about to crash out in Sephora with Klarna and Afterpay, crash out with student loans, debt, credit cards, all of that. So I appreciate the debt-free community, the ones that are trying to help people understand budgeting and showing how they're getting out of their situations. and also letting people know the dangers of credit cards, payday loans, all of that.
A lot of people missed in that video that the vast majority of my debt is student loan debt. And the part of the debt that is not student loan debt, that's consumer debt, credit cards, personal loan, auto loan, I already paid all that off this year.
Good.
Paying off over $31,000 of debt in less than 3 months is a pretty big accomplishment.
She said 31,000 in 3 months? Man, she needs a trophy.
In my book, got a really good plan in place. And I have made a lot of changes in my life and my spending and my finances to make sure that I'm able to pay off the student loans and get debt-free as soon as possible. So if you are like me and you are also on a debt-free journey, please don't pay attention to the negative Nancys and who don't want to provide any positive or reassuring type comments to help you make a move towards, becoming debt-free and living your best life.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And she's right. Now, a lot of the comments come from a place of shock. Even my reaction. I'm actually genuinely shocked to hear a lot of the things I hear. But for the people that take accountability for where they are and want to help other people and show their journey and are honest, I ain't got nothing but respect for them.
Hey, apparently I'm the girl with 13 credit cards. Let's talk about it. When I made that video, I really thought that the amount of debt would be the thing that really set people off, but it's really the fact that I have 13 credit cards. By the way, I did not just go out and open 13 credit cards. These were accumulated over probably 15 to 18 years of credit history. And most of them never carried balances. They were just open credit lines until they weren't. I've been watching videos and being a part of the debt payoff community for a long time, so I know I'm not the only person that's on a debt journey by any means.
Yeah.
But let's face it, there are things that happen in your life that you just don't necessarily have cash on hand to pay for. And just because people are in credit card debt or any kind of debt, that doesn't necessarily mean that they just bought a bunch of frivolous things or lived outside of their means or any of those things. Maybe they just had a life circumstance that came up that they really hadn't planned for.
And that may be true. However, in her case, that's not what was explained. Now, there is nuance to every situation. Now, I also think when people have these conversations, they like to say, well, other people are going through, and it's like, no, what did you do? And the reason I say this is because I've experienced this in real life talking to people where they're like, I'm buried in credit card debt. Oh my gosh. And then when you talk to them about what they've been spending the money on, they're going on vacations, they're doing shopping hauls, they're doing all this like beauty treatments, all this other stuff. And then when you talk to them about debt, they'll say things like, some people are having life emergencies and you don't know what anybody's going through. And some people have situations that have emptied out their accounts. And it's like, that's not your situation. Yes, you're right. What you did was you was out there doing the absolute most. And now you try to bring up, oh, sometimes people have medical emergencies. You ain't had a medical emergency. Your savings weren't wiped out for a life emergency that happened. You see what I'm saying? So we got to stick to the script.
And before you say you need an emergency fund, I think that everybody knows that they need an emergency fund, but some people are just not in the place to make that happen for a while. Now, that doesn't excuse the fact that I had 13 credit cards and at one point in time, they all carried balances. Because let's face it, that's irresponsible. But sometimes life gets expensive unexpectedly. And you've got things to pay for and only credit cards to turn to. I wish I had some kind of grand story to say, hey, I have all this debt and I have X, Y, Z to show for it, but I really don't. A lot of that credit was just accumulated over the cost of living and living expenses and daily life and a few health and medical issues that had come up. And, that's really the story. Nothing really crazy beyond that. At the end of the day, I don't really think that the number of credit cards is really that much of an issue. I know a lot of people, especially people who do credit card hacking and things like that, who have way more credit cards than this. It's really the fact that in order to use credit cards responsibly, you shouldn't carry a balance and need to be fiscally and financially responsible with them.
Now, she ended up saying that she did have a lot of the things happen to her that she was bringing up. So I'm glad she wasn't just saying that because other people have this go on and hypothetically this might happen. So that's why other people might be in debt, because we already know that. If it happened to you, that makes sense. But she also said a lot of that was cost of living. So it might have been that she was living above her means, which a lot of people do. A lot of people aren't trying to scale back their lifestyle. And a lot of people, when they are in credit card debt, are not budgeting. So then they had a slideshow up that says she doesn't know it yet. 15 years from now, she'll still be paying money for all those fun nights out in college. So she's saying, so these are her college pictures. I want to know what college it was and what did you go to school for? With over $169K of debt. And y'all, let me tell you something about this picture right here, y'all. This is giving me flashbacks of when we used to layer our tank tops because I'm seeing white Maybe that's not her tank top underneath. But do y'all remember back when we used to layer our shirts? Y'all know.
Being in debt is not the end of your life. And certainly not the end of mine. It's just a chapter that I'm having to go through. I know that some people will look at those numbers and think, how will you ever get out of that? How will you survive? How will you pay it off? But you just have to have a plan and a passion for getting your shit together. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. Is it going to be quick? Also, probably not. But I'm a firm believer that the challenges that you face in life only make you stronger going forward. I have learned a ton about myself. I've learned a lot about other people in debt. I've learned a lot about financial management and financial literacy. And I really think that I have the tools now to do the best that I can with my finances going forward after I navigate out of this debt season. The reason I posted that video is because there are so many people in debt, either student loan or other types of debt, who see that number and it just looks insurmountable. It looks unsurvivable. It looks like you're never going to turn your life around. And mainly, I just wanted to show you that that's not the case. It is figure outable. And I have never met a more positive or uplifting or energizing community than the debt payoff, debt-free community. So if you find yourself in this situation, don't fear. Buckle down, make a plan, and let's get going.
And she said it best. You must have a plan and you must execute the plan. It's not just having a plan. Execution is going to get you where you want to be. And I respect that she is a person that does. She's not just talking. She was paying off the debt. She wasn't just saying, well, hopefully it just pops off and falls off. She said, hey, I got this debt. I made some decisions when I was young that wasn't the best, but I got the plan and the mindset to get rid of it, and it's not going to be fun. It ain't going to be sexy, because I think that's what the people needed to hear. I think a lot of people are looking for the easy, fun, sexy way to get out of debt, to get out of whatever bad situation they're in. And the truth about real life is you're going to have to go through it. A lot of people start looking around at this point like, who gonna save me? The same person that got you in the situation is likely going to have to be the one to get you out. And that's the truth. If you know you have student loan debt and you want to get it paid off, you're going to have to get enough money to pay off your student loan debt. You're going to probably be tired. You're probably going to be trying to find multiple income streams that you can utilize to help you get out of debt. That is the truth. People start saying, where am I going to get the money from? See, that's where you got to look inside. You see what she did? She said, hey, I got a budgeting thing going on. She got side hustles and she probably got whatever it is she does full time. I heard at least 3 different types of income off top. And she might be getting paid from TikTok. So that might be 4. The point is, you got to do what you got to do. And the real question is, what you gonna do? What's your plan? Are you about to crack under pressure? Is it too much for you? Because I tell you what, cracking under pressure ain't gonna do nothing either, because you're still gonna be in the same situation. So you're gonna have to go through it, and it's gonna make you stronger because of it, because look at her, she's walking proof. And I love to see this. But what was the craziest part of this whole video to you? Are you in credit card debt? Are you in student loan debt? Or are you debt free and you ain't never going back? But y'all, let me know what you think about all this down below. But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.